welcome to the April, not a joke, not a prank, the April Fool's edition of the Gold Award-winning Builder Town Hall. My name is Meredith Oliver. I am the host of Builder Town Hall, and our company, Meredith Communications, presents this event every month, first Friday at noon. At Meredith Communications, we help builders drive more traffic, more leads, more sales with digital marketing. We build builder websites, we do social media marketing, we do Google marketing, all of the digital channels integrated. And I think what we do that I'm most proud of is we execute and we get it done. We get it moving and we make it happen. And with or without your help, no, I'm kidding, but we do bring things to completion and move the ball down the field. And that's what you really need in a partner, not somebody who's constantly waiting on you to make it happen. Meredith Communications has been in the industry doing what we do for 20 years. I know, how is that possible? But we really do love it. And I can't imagine doing anything else. So it's our pleasure to do this event along, of course, with Carrie Mulcrone of Carrie & Co. with her support, and with Angela McKay of O'Neill Interactive and her support. The three of us are Team Town Hall, and we make it work every month. So I'm excited to tell you that we actually already have the next two shows planned. Boom. We are planning for our theme. We've already got the interviews lined up. We're going to be talking about mastering MarTech. MarTech, what? M-A-R-T-E-C-H, MarTech. So it's marketing technology. So for the next two, May 6th and June 3rd, we're going to be talking to builders and that are using technology, their tech stack, specifically in sales and marketing, to do innovative things. So we're going to talk to a builder who you can now completely price a home on their website. So it's a pricing tool that they've integrated. I think that's going to be interesting because we've all been kind of hovering around that idea for a while, but it's like, how do I actually do it? We're going to be talking to another builder that's using a third-party app for some amazing results with how they're communicating with buyers under contract. And then, of course, we're going to tackle buy online, and we're going to talk to a company that has gone full on with buy online, and we're going to find out how they are doing that. So marketing people, it's definitely for you, but salespeople, please hear me that this is also very much for you, because as I started looking at people to interview, there were plenty of builders to choose from that were integrating different types of MarTech. And as they do that, that impacts how the salesperson works, what their process is going to be, the handoff from online to on-site, the whole thing. So please don't think this isn't for you. We will make sure that it is applicable, and Carrie always does a great job of that, that there's something for you sales, there's something for you marketing, and definitely you builder owners out there, this is definitely for you. So that is what we will be doing for May and June, Mastering MarTech. And I'll be announcing who those interviews are in the coming days in our Facebook group. Okay, so for my next segment, we're going to do what I've now named as an official segment, Meredith Metrics. Okay, just pretend I'm like on cable news and I had a cool little graphic come up that said Meredith Metrics. There is actually ways to do that on a live stream, but I cannot. I am only one person. I'm good at looking in the camera and talking to you, but I cannot push buttons while I do it. Anyway, Meredith Metrics, that's our new segment. So let's talk. January, we were up in total website visits January over December, so January 22 over December 21, month over month, on average, we're tracking about 76 builder websites that are similar enough to aggregate. Of course, there's many more we support, but I can't include all of them in the metrics, up 33%. So the January digital marketing website traffic numbers were astronomical. Good, up, way up. There went my AirPod. Okay, no problem. I can hear it still on this side. But here's what happened. February happened. And we were in January. January is always a great month for digital marketing. But February started to soften a bit. So then February was down 22% from January, but that was okay because I'm thinking to myself, well, January was off the charts, but then I start to look at it year over year. And here's where I'm finding for the first time in probably a 12-month trend, unfortunately, we're trending under this time last year. So down 15% year over year for February. And then as I look at the March numbers, down 16% year over year. So it's our belief that the inflation, the cost of gas, groceries, all of that, the low amount of inventory, both resale and new construction, perhaps world events, are all softening consumer confidence. And so while the website numbers, that's your very top of your funnel, and that's why I pay attention to it so much, they're good. They're not what they've been. So that really begs the question then, what adjustments do you need to make on your marketing side and also on your sales side? And I know that's something that our featured guest is going to be able to really speak to today. On the marketing side, I would encourage you, yes, you're looking at the total volume of your visits, but you're also looking at things like conversions. What do the conversion numbers look like? Those are still seem to be fairly strong. And the people that are converting are quite interested. Like they're very driven. They seem to understand that if they don't buy it now, they could be looking at a 2 or 3 year window where they cannot get into a home because of pricing and inventory and supply chain and a whole host of issues. So those people that are interested are very driven. Now, here is something different that I found in the numbers that I wanted to share with you this month compared to a couple past months. I usually give you where we are in terms of our top of the funnel. But if we're focusing on conversions, I took a look, okay, we're down 4% month over month. And what are the top converting goals? How are people reaching out? And here's what's interesting. If they come in from an organic traffic source, like Google search, organic, or a Facebook post, something where it's not digital ads, the top converting type of conversion is through a form. They're filling a form out on the website. Second was phone. Third is an email link like sales at such and such. And fourth was live chat. But here's how it changes when we go to paid digital. So when you do paid digital, so many of those ads run on mobile phones, right? That's their main placement is in mobile apps. So what do you think the top converting type of conversion, the way that they reach out is when it's mobile? I'm going to look over in chat and see if anybody gets it. What do you think is the top way? Is it a form? Is it a text? Is it a phone call? What do you think? Janice? Yep. Janice is such an awesome marketer. Yes, phone. So what we are seeing is phones that are absolutely ringing off the hook, literally. Like your OSCs barely have time to do anything else. They're answering so many phone calls. So the more paid digital you do, the more that's going to impact your phone volume. Second was email link. Like I said, sales at, if you just offer an email and let people send that. Here's one I didn't anticipate. Third, address map clicks. Yeah, so if you're measuring on your website, if they're clicking on map it, directions, whatever, where they're integrating the Google app or Bing map app, something like that, that's big, a big type of conversion on the paid digital. VIP forms. We are still having tremendous success getting and building up lists and leads with good old fashioned be the first to know about this community when we, the first to know about the model or releasing the floor plans with a VIP form or link that they can do, live chat, and then in dead last are forms like contact us for paid digital. So I saw this in the numbers when I was reviewing for today's meeting, and I just thought, well, that's kind of interesting. And it really matters most to you so that you know kind of what kind of marketing you're doing. And then you can match that up with your OSC and say, what are you really getting that's coming in? You talk to your salespeople. What do you really see? And does it line up? Does it kind of fall in the pattern of Meredith's metrics? And when you do that, you're going to start to really be able to forecast, understand what you're seeing, not panic, plan, etc. So if you're seeing a bit of a softening in your total website visits, then you're on trend. And if you're seeing a lot of phone calls, a lot of texts, a lot of live chats, you're on trend. If you're not, we should talk about it because certainly the numbers are still strong enough that you should be doing well. And in fact, most of our clients in our monthly meeting, when I say, appears to have slowed up a touch in visits and phone calls and conversions, they go, yeah, and it's okay. Because everybody's so exhausted from the blistering pace of this market. So that's what I'm seeing in the numbers. If you're seeing something different, please jump in the chat or ask us a question, share. We would love to hear it from you. Absolutely love to. Okay, so now it is my pleasure to bring in our featured guest. I'll let him get his camera turned back on and unmute there. So once Cory becomes on your radar, there is no missing Cory. And I mean that as a 100% compliment because our attention is so distracted by so many different shiny objects and things in the world. And the fact that you stand out in such a positive way is a really cool trait and thing to do. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So let me share with everyone a little bit of background. So Cory is Director of Sales Training for Hovnanian Homes. He's based out of Orlando. He made heroic efforts to be here today and make this live. The flight gods were not his friends last night, but we appreciate him doing it so much. You were, I think in 2021, Professional Builder Magazine 40 Under 40 honoree. That's a really cool thing. I'm a little mad about it because I'm not under 40. So I'm no longer eligible for such an honor.
I had to get in while I could. It's getting close.
Right? So that's a really cool thing. And then you spoke at the Builder Show last year or this year, back in early February.
Yep, sure did. So that was something that was I put it on my list of long-term goals was 40 under 40, speak at the Builder Show, obviously come onto this show with you, Meredith. And they've all happened within a year, which has been really amazing. I'm on quite a run. even though the travel gods have tried to slow me down, but they can't stop.
Yes, no, we cannot be denied. That's what you said when you got on today. It was so great. Yeah, so tell us a bit more about your background in the industry and, just kind of give us that backstory.
Yeah, absolutely. So my backstory kind of starts outside of the industry, but I'll do what I call a Tarantino. I'll go backwards and I'll bring it forward. So
Nice.
I actually started, if we really go back to the roots, my parents immigrated here from Trinidad with 2 boys and me in the oven, little surprise baby in the oven.
Yeah.
And I knew growing up that when we moved here, they risked everything to give us a better life. So it was my responsibility to make the best out of my life. I didn't know what that was at the time, but it's always been about pursuing what that could be. And I still carry that with me today. That took me to the auto industry. So you guys can let all your used car salesman jokes out now, but I was in the auto industry for quite a while, sold, did some mentoring, did some training, did a lot of really fun stuff. But I knew long-term, my goal, I wanted to get into the home building industry. That was something that had excited me from almost as long as I can remember. Way back long ago, I wanted to be an architect, but I was no good at math. So I was excited to be into the home building industry. I started selling with Ashton Woods. I sold with Taylor Morrison, and then became the national sales trainer for Taylor Morrison, and did that for quite a while, and really got to explore what it meant to train and help develop new salespeople and even veteran salespeople, and really get that excitement of seeing people become a better version of themselves, sometimes even when they don't have that idea of what that could be within themselves. So being a part of that process has always been exciting for me, which brought me over to Hovnanian, just with the culture that they have around, we talk about pursuing excellence, and the culture around not only training our salespeople, but mentoring and training our sales leaders in the same token. It's been really just an amazing experience for me. It fills my cup up every day, even when I get stranded in Chicago, which I love Chicago, but not without a jacket in the snow.
And this time of year, it's just problematic. It's any of the northern, if you get sent to Newark, you're like, oh no, it's going to be a long night, right? Because the weather, you're just going to be there a while. Yeah. So what about home building? You said that it was something that you were interested in for some time, or residential real estate, if we go a little broader. What about it is magical to you? What is it about it that you were like, I want to do that someday?
Yeah, it's really interesting that you mentioned that. So we moved here. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, but we moved to Florida when I was a little kid, and seeing my parents put together their money to build their first house, and being able to, I remember my dad giving me a piggyback ride and walking me down to the new house, and us walking it under construction and seeing it at frame and seeing the roof go on, and being a part of that whole entire process really, really just excited me from a physical standpoint. Just seeing that happen, I was really excited about that, but also knowing what that did for our family. We grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment with 5 people. So seeing what that meant for us, and being able to have this space and, have my own room and have all this, all these life-changing experiences, that made me so happy. And I thought, man, if I could be a part of that process and bring that happiness and bring that joy to other people, to other families, what an amazing way to live your life. I didn't know what that meant long-term or broad scale, but I just knew I wanted to be a part of that process. It just felt like something that was really magical in that.
So if you think about it, audience, as you're processing what he's saying, the lesson that I'm hearing here is that your customers right now, they're kids, that are of an age to really know what's happening and what's going on. This is your future workforce. And I mean, I'm kind of joking, but I'm also making a point there that what's their experience like, because you're literally either inspiring or deterring a whole generation of people from wanting to be part of our industry. I have a very similar story to Cory's. We did not own our own home until I was 14 years old. So I was on the cusp of being a teenager, and my parents had the opportunity to build their first home. It was a new construction home. It was a Beazer home in Orlando there. And I remember it making a massive impact on me. and thinking, I love this industry and I like this model and I like all the stuff about it. So, when we talk about the issues of our labor, of having enough people and the labor shortage and the trade, all the things we talk about, and we think, oh, we've got to go to the job fair, and we do all those things for recruiting, but your customers, you're making an impact on those young people right now.
That's so true. I remember I talk about core memories, and thinking about, for you moving to your, first owned house at 14, for me, getting that piggyback ride to the house under construction,
Yes.
That's a core memory for me. And just being able, like I said before, being able to help supply those core memories for new kids and new people coming down the road. You're absolutely right. My goal is to inspire people to get into what we do, because it's an amazing profession. And if I can inspire more people, or inspire people that are already doing it, to do it a little, push their limits a little bit more, that's exciting. And I'd be really, really happy to be able to do that for a long time.
Yeah, well, you are, and you do. One of the things that caught my attention is on your LinkedIn profile. The quote says, inspiring and empowering others to push past limitations, to overcome obstacles, to reach their full potential. It's like, so that kind of sounds like that's your personal mission statement, so to speak.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So that is something that I keep it on. You can't see it, of course, but I keep it on my screen here. It's something that I think about all the time.
Yeah.
I was in a situation where I got into the industry, didn't have a ton of guidance, just kind of had to figure it out on my own. And I was lucky. I was one of the lucky ones that was able to study.
Welcome to home building.
Exactly. So I knew that if I wanted to make the shift into training, whether it's salespeople or leadership, it felt like my responsibility to help people kind of unlock that potential within them. And just like you said, a lot of times we don't realize what that potential really is until someone helps us see that. And if I can be the person that helps people see that, that's the goal.
Yeah, I agree. And becomes your why, in addition to, of course, the why of your family and your friends, and doing the things that you want to do to support them and let them achieve what they want to. And that is literally what makes sitting on the runway for 4 hours or ending up in the wrong city palatable, is because you just keep digging into that why. I've had to do it myself so many times, because it would just be way easier to stay home. Well, you might get fired, but it would be so much easier. But we put up with those things because that opportunity to develop somebody and them have a shot is so rewarding. It's amazing. All right, well, I'm going to shift our topic a little bit. What do you see as the number one challenge right now as a sales leader, for our sales leaders out there? And this could be somebody that's on site in a model. This could be a sales manager. I consider all of you leaders in your sphere. What do you think is their top challenge?
It's funny. I think their top challenge, and I think a lot of cases they're not aware that this is their top challenge. I call it letting good be the enemy of great. We're seeing a lot of people that aren't pushing for excellence. It's something that we talk about at KHOV quite a bit. We talk about pursuing excellence and what that means. And what's really important, and I spoke about this at IBS with my friends Chris and Jennifer, we talk about the state of the market today. And my fear is for young salespeople, I call them kids no matter what the age, but kids coming into this industry today and thinking that this is the normal market. And, we don't have to understand our buyer. We don't have to challenge them. We don't have to ask those questions. We don't have to get into alignment with them. That gives me a lot of fear, because I want to make sure that we really understand that we have to be fundamentally sound in our processes. More importantly, have processes. We got to start there, but we have to be really fundamentally sound. We have to be well-versed. We have to be practiced in our fundamentals for when, not if, for when the market shifts. Are we ready for that shift in the market? So that's the thing that I think for all the salespeople out there, whether you've been doing it for 2 years, 2 weeks, or 20 years, is just being aware that the market we're in today, not to diminish your work, but the market we're in today is not necessarily the market we'll be in tomorrow. And are you prepared for that is where I spend my focus. Are you reading? Are you practicing? Are you working with others? Are you trying to move the needle for yourself to be prepared for when that winter comes?
Yeah, that's right. And that's why I do the Meredith Metrics segment. I'm always a little bit leery of it because I don't want to give anybody an excuse like, oh, well, yep, people aren't as motivated to buy. I mean, consumer confidence, there's a war. Like, I don't ever want salespeople to use the market as an excuse for not performing up to sales goal. But at the same time, I think there are different habits. There's different kind of mindsets of the salesperson. We've been in what I've called in various sales rallies and events, the high tide market, where our focus is customer experience. We're not necessarily on conversion because they're converting in 2021, they converted in record number, but we could barely build enough and our customer experience possibly suffered. So our salespeople were more focused there. We get what I'd call low tide market, and we will get to that. We don't know when that'll be. This is why we watch the metrics. We still have to hit our sales goals, but we have to shift our habits to more of a conversion mindset. And this is something we were chatting about in the pre-show. What does a conversion mindset mean to you? And how are you training your folks to really make that shift?
Well, it's really interesting. I really appreciate what you just said about the habits. First of all, a good friend of mine, Eric, says frequent repetition creates natural tendencies. So if we focus on the habits that it takes to move a sale forward, those will become the things that we do consistently. And when we think about conversion rates, the low hanging fruit is always, hey, we need more people, we need more marketing, we need more leads, right? That's always the low hanging fruit.
Always.
The easy lever to try to pull, right? But if we can focus on, hey, how can we move the needle on conversion? Now we're being more productive with the leads that we do have. And if you combine those two and look down the road and we can bring more leads back to you with a higher conversion, now we're really cooking. So that's really the focus that we talk about. One of the questions that we ask, especially when the market is the state that it is right now, conversion is really high. One of the questions we typically ask is, when it comes to this particular deal, what did you do to convert? And it's a really good question to force that self-awareness of what was my role in the conversion of this lead? Because you and I both know, listen, every salesperson on here is amazing, but there are some deals where someone is just begging for a house. So I love to ask that question of what did you do to move the needle? What did you do to help bring that sale to fruition? And it forces us to kind of think about our habits and the things that we're doing, the things that we're saying that are going to help drive sales forward. And now if we can duplicate that, now we're really cooking with something.
Yeah. And I think that if you look, salespeople, if you look back at your last 5, your last 10 contracts, and you were to ask that question, what did I do to assist or create this conversion? I think you'll see a pattern. I think you will start to see a pattern that then that's where you say, oh, it was this many phone calls. Oh, it was going above and beyond with that realtor relationship. Oh, it was helping them figure out how they were going to live somewhere temporarily until this could get built, like solving obstacles, right? You're going to see a pattern. And once you begin to see the pattern, you can build habits around those patterns. And that is money. As my 14-year-old son would say, that's cash money, mom. Like sometimes I say things and he's like, that is so not cash money, mom. And then sometimes I say, yes, you can game until 10 o'clock tonight on your Xbox because you did well in school this week. And he'll say, that's cash money, mom. That's cash money. So yeah, Cory, that's where we build habits. Like, we're not asking you guys to build random habits like you'll need to do 200 ab crunches, although that would probably be great for your abs. If they don't really help you, we don't want you to do busy work, right? I mean, we want to be focused and we want to hone in on those things that really make a difference. And I think they could be different from community to community, from price point to price point, from active adult compared to townhome first time buyer. Like, this is where, again, knowing your metrics makes a difference, knowing who the audience is, and then just looking for the patterns.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what you said. And we talk about it a lot where we are at KHOV, and we talk about making sure that we're focusing on the next step that can help move a sales forward. And one of the things we also mentioned, just like you said, Meredith, it doesn't have to be overly complicated. Complicated processes don't get used. So we're just looking for the simple habits that we can do every single day that can help us be more productive in what we do.
Yeah. That makes me think of this question. Do you have a morning routine? Do you have a set of habits in the morning that kind of get you going in the right direction for success?
I do, so I admittedly, I'm a recovering non-morning person. I've totally turned the page on that. So I wake up in the morning, I get up pretty early. I get up around 4 o'clock. I do a little bit of meditating in the morning. I stole that from a friend of mine. That's a work in progress, but I do a little bit of meditating. I go to the gym. That has helped my sanity big time. So I get my gym time out in the morning because there's no excuses. I'm already awake. I try to, while I'm at the gym, either listen to an audiobook, listen to a podcast. I'm trying to feed the mind and the body at the same time. So just trying to maximize my time. Of course, I come home and take a shower. That's pretty important. But really, when I'm in the shower, that's my time to kind of wake myself up. I like to play a lot of music. I like to get loose, have a little bit of fun. And then of course, after that, I got to get suited, Meredith, because then that's when I put on my cape. So I get suited, even if I'm in the office all day long on video calls, I am suited. I am wearing shoes. I know a lot of people don't do that, but I get suited from head to toe because that just makes me feel like I'm in my zone. I'm in my element to go do what I need to do.
Yeah. I've interviewed, I don't know, maybe hundreds at this point, between hosting the Builder Growth Summit a couple of years ago, doing town hall, whatever. And the top people in their field all have morning routines. Now, when you have very young children at home, I know that is hard to do. So those of you that are in that stage of life, give yourself a little grace. You're juggling a lot of things, and you're doing some of the most important work out there with those little children. That's greater than any career investment you could make. So don't be too hard on yourself, but the rest of us need to, it is a big key to success. And you'll find any of the biographies you read of uber successful people, whatever industry it's in, they've got a morning routine, and they know how to build it out. And it's a big factor towards getting you going the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit it right on the head. I have two little ones. I have a 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I got to get as many things I can accomplish before they wake up, because it can sometimes be chaos in the morning. So that's why I have the early start before they get going. But I'm trying to do my best as a dad and a leader of our family unit, and get them into morning routines. So they have their own little morning routines. Granted, they're not working out and meditating, but we're going to get there. So just
yes. You better
getting the habits in early.
Brady Oliver has a morning routine, and it is not cash money in his opinion, but he does it, and that all his sports equipment and all his books and everything get to his school every day without fails, because we're on the routine. All right, so here's the next question I have for you. Let's say one of our sales agents, our new home sales leaders, they've got a difficult customer. Maybe in your past, you don't say the name, but you might be able to picture one of those difficult customers. It is a trying time, and everyone is a little stressed out, and our customers can be challenging. What keeps you going? How do you advise managing difficult customer interactions?
Well, I think that's a great question, Meredith. First thing I think about, I look at it in two parts. first thing is I always remember my why. And you mentioned that earlier. I remember that I got 2 little boys back at home that if dad loses his attitude because this is a difficult customer, there are going to be some hungry kids. So I got to make sure that I keep my mind in the right place that it needs to be. And I think beyond that, the bigger side of that is exactly what we talked about earlier. I understand that part of my purpose is to help people improve their lives. And sometimes that can be difficult. Anyone that is in that place that has taken on that mission to improve lives, those aren't always easy, jobs or easy roles. It can be difficult. So remembering that, and also remembering, I think this is the big one. I hope that everyone, if you remember one thing, is that every single person that's walking into your door has a story. They have a situation that we have no idea about. Even if we think we have great alignment with them and we have great rapport, there is still a big chunk of the puzzle that we have no clue about. So I take everything in grace. I've had more difficult customers than I care to count, but I always, with respect, try to get them to resolution. And of course, that is to improve their lives. And you'd be surprised the kind of stories you hear when you take off your salesperson hat and you really just try to get into them on a personal level and really understand where they're coming from. And then the process becomes a really easy thing. Even if they don't buy, it just becomes a really much easier process.
Yeah. No, I think the really taking it with grace is an awesome soundbite to kind of hang on to, because whatever is so frustrating to them about what's happening, there's something behind that that is driving that frustration that they may be able to share with you, or they may not even know for themselves putting that together, but they may not be aware of it. But yes, there is a story there. And the longer you work with the general public, in my days of travel, just sitting in airports, I mean, the stuff people tell you about what they have transformed, situations that they've transformed out of to where they are now. When you said, growth can be a little painful, that's transformation. When the caterpillar becomes the butterfly, it is a painful process. It's hard, I guess.
It's hard.
It's hard. It's wonderful. It's good, but it's hard. And so guiding people along with that and trying to give them a little room, it's a good reminder. Hi, Carrie. Welcome to the conversation.
Hi. I jumped now because when it came that, the story and giving grace and things, that it made me realize that as I've been working with sales teams like you, Cory, is that I always call it grit and grace. If you do the grit, if you have done all that hard work, they know that. And those are the people that will give you grace. So I think that grit and grace go together, so that's what you really want. When the time gets tough, the closing gets moved, the product's not there, please give us grace. And I think that's when they will, please. Please.
Yeah. Carrie, do you have a question for Cory? Feel free to jump in.
Yeah, just so many great things, but I think that when you talked about core memories, and it kind of went through the chat too, I think that's a really good thing for salespeople to understand, that as we're all talking about, one of our jobs is to deliver a great experience right now. Like, we have monetized experience, right? Generally speaking, where we will go spend our money, if we do, we want an experience for it. So if we've monetized experience, and when you said core memories, I think that to all our salespeople to understand that one of our roles is to make sure that during either the buying or the building journey, we are creating a core memory for them and make sure that they're aware that it is one.
That's so good. I think of a time I was in a model and I had a little 3-year-old decide to take a little dip in the pool. But of course they got him out, but he just was so fascinated by the pool. He just jumped right in, all closed. But that was a core memory, and I was happy to be a part of it. That's something that family is going to tell for years and years and years. And it was just great to be kind of a fly on the wall for that.
I just think that when you're looking for ways to deliver an experience, and you're like, oh, is that helping them have a core memory of what went right, really, what went right, because they remember what went wrong. They remind you.
For new home sales leaders, here's your reframe. I'm always looking for the reframe, right? So maybe the situation or the walkthrough isn't going as good as you thought. And in some worlds, you'd be like going home going, oh my goodness, the 3-year-old fell in the pool. It was a disaster. Reframe. No, it's a core memory.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that is a different way to look at it. That is going to take you as you enter your home and then impact your family with your attitude and everything else of what has gone on in the day, right? The reframe of, oh no, we were making some core memories today. So I would love you all. You can do it in chat. You can do it in our Facebook group. I mean, we can kind of laugh with each other, like, what core memories have you been making lately? I mean, I think that might be fun things to share.
Yeah.
All right. So here's another question for you, Cory. If you had a blank check from your manager, leader, whoever you report to, and they were like, here is thousands of dollars, whatever the number is, to spend to make us better at what we're doing, what would you spend it on?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. My instinct would be to buy suits, but I'm going to take my ego out of it. So I would say, my team and I have a great team, and, my team, specifically my teammates, Matt and Eric and Mary, they've been reading this David Goggins book, You Can't Hurt Me. And he is the Navy SEAL, he is a madman, but he just talks about going through this hell week and the experience and the kind of person it makes you become. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking, wouldn't that be amazing to take that $20,000? I don't know how we would make it work, but put salespeople through, maybe even sales leaders through a hell week and go through simulated selling, and really not as a hell week to break them, but really to get them prepared to be the absolute best version of themselves as a salesperson, as a sales leader, as a marketing leader, as a parent, as a spouse, whatever that looks like. How do we make you be the absolute top best version of yourselves? And we're going to go into the trenches together for a week and just really grit it out together to steal a phrase from Carrie.
Yeah, well, it's that immersion into it. Now, if this involves camouflage, I don't know. I mean, I like a little bit of camo, kind of like a little bit of leopard print, but no, I'm kidding. And if it involves crawling through mud puddles, we're in trouble. Or running. Okay, never mind.
I'm going to do a camouflage suit is the goal.
Oh, that would be awesome, actually. I think that would look really cool. Angela, what do you think about a blank check to spend on your team? Yeah, how would you spend it? Peloton bikes for everyone?
There you go.
Yeah.
That would be, I probably would do something
Office
along
Pelotons.
those lines.
Yeah.
Probably something along those lines. But I just, whatever you can do to improve the team and the culture, to me, that's what's going to drive success. So however way that looks, whether Cory, you got me feeling very uncomfortable with what you described, but that's, you've got to be comfortable with getting uncomfortable, which I have to work on, full disclosure. But that's why I like the Peloton idea. But it's but no, anything, it's team building, and today more than ever, improving that culture and being a team is a long way.
And 100%. And Cory, you started us on it, that when given the money, you thought about the greater good for the all, not like individuals or tiered money or anything. And Ange said the same thing. I think that as a team, for all of us as builder owners, salespeople, sales leaders, that whatever we can start to do as a team, we're all in it together, right? And that, how do you do that? I just was working with the builder they want to design a contest to take their sales team to the builder show this next year, which I get posed with that question all the time. And the key thing was we either all go or no one goes. And every metric that we use has to be a team metric. That's the foundation of it. So I think
I
that
like it.
lesson, yeah. And you started it off right with the money and for the greater good.
Yeah. So as an application point, audience, what I'm hearing is making an investment in your people and educating them is one of the biggest, because that's power, that information. So whether you're educating, training, doing trips, doing team Peloton bike rides together. I mean, I think all of that is really cool. And it doesn't have to be a big check. I mean, it was a fun question to pose it that way, but it doesn't have to be a dollar sign. That is something you can do to help the team, really work together for that culture. And if you wonder what impact does that have, if you missed last month, go back and listen to the March town hall, because you will find we interviewed gold award winners from this year's nationals awards, and every single one of them, they didn't say, well, it was because we just had the best website, we had the best agency. They went back to culture. It's because of a culture of excellence here. And our team worked together and pulled this together. We submitted it and we were rewarded by being acknowledged as the best of the best. And before we did last month, I really hadn't linked those two things together. So it's interesting.
It is interesting. And, and I'd like to maybe even get some of your ideas or your opinion, Cory, on this, that, we've got a couple things that are flying out there right now as like sound bites to be better, to be the best version of you or the best version of your company. And they are experience and culture, right? But they have become words that it's what you do behind it. Like, what is the action of the culture, the action to the experience kind of thing that I think we'd all love to hear, like something that you do personally with a team that grows or supports the culture, because you already mentioned the culture.
I'm trying not to get too excited about that question because I absolutely.
I know can you tell us my thing? I'm like, okay, now I need to hear it from somebody else.
That's a really exciting question. So we focus on, and I love this culture conversation. We call it, in K-Hop, we call it a championship culture mindset. And we always tie it back to, I'm a sports guy, so we tie it to sports franchises. Meredith, you talked about Duke and Carolina, great histories with those teams. We talk about the Patriots, we talk about the Yankees, we talk about the Bulls, we talk about these teams that are just known for winning because it is part of their culture. And I don't mean culture as the buzzword. I mean, culture it is a piece of everything they do. It is ingrained in their DNA. So one of the things we started doing at the early part of the year is we started looking at each team's core values. So we're looking at what are the things that are non-negotiable to be a part of this team, and how do we filter everything that we do and every decision that we make through those core values. And that's how we not only make sure that we're performing at the highest level, like a championship caliber team, but also we end up holding each other accountable for that culture because everyone takes pride in it. So one of those things that once we did those core value exercises and started filtering all of our thought processes through the core values, it really changed the landscape. So that's one of the big ones.
You're incredibly astute and right. When you do that, like with transparency, like run the things through your core values. Like it's our litmus test, right? Are we going to hire you or are we going to fire you? Are we going to do this with this customer? Aren't we? Let's check our core values, which is the best part about that is you have to have them.
You have to have them and you have to demonstrate them, right, Ange?
All the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so funny that you bring this up because ironically, I'm submitting an award application right now for a builder. And the campaign that they ran was all based on, I mean, you can base everything and go back to their core values and everything. And that's what kind of makes these campaigns award winning.
Yes.
and but to your point, Carrie, you have to have them, right? So that when you come up with these ideas or this strategy, it all kind of goes back and it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we are our most powerful communicators, whether we're communicating through a digital campaign or communicating with a verbal message as a new home sales consultant. When we are tapping into emotion, that's what makes us memorable. That's what makes us engaging. Those core values are part strategic, but part emotional. We believe in transparency. I mean, take transparency, for example. That is both logical and emotional at the same time. And for us that live more on the marketing side of the coin than the sales side, it gives us something to work with because it's hard. It is hard to market all strategy and all dots on a map all the time. Like, it's just
Meredith, I think when you're working with websites with people, one of the things that in establishing the things that should and shouldn't be on, what's the message that you want on the website, when you run everybody through the report card, I've been in this industry like a really long time, right? And there used to be what I called wall words, that you went in and there were words on people's walls.
On the wall.
That's what they were. They were wall words. But now they're words that a lot of times, and someone wrote them for someone, right? Now core values are being written as a team.
Yes.
You as a sales trainer and a website and marketing are wanting to know, to help them understand how to live them out loud, right? Take the words on the wall and live them out loud. I just think this is fabulous.
What's really cool about that is we've looked at how we can take sales principles and apply it to other aspects, not just of the business, but of life. And one of the things we always talk about is how do we take this concept that you learned and take it to application, which is the same thing you're talking about, Carrie, because I mentioned this the other day. Every place I've ever worked has had values on the wall. The real question is, how do we take them from the walls and put them into the halls? And that's the real work.
Ooh,
you guys can steal that one.
For the day. Nailed it.
You guys can steal that one.
Yeah, hashtag nailed it.
So that's where the real work is how do we take it off the walls and inject it into the hallways? So from the walls to the halls is what we call that. But that is, again, where the real work comes in. That's where it can be a little bit more challenging. But if everyone's committed to that excellence that we're all talking about, then we can get there together, which is a really exciting process. And it shifts the culture in a really amazing way.
As we start to wind down our time, don't go yet, but a couple reminders. So making sure that you've got the next 2 months on your calendar, May 6th, first Friday at noon, June 3rd. We've got some really cool marketing technology, tech stack interviews for you. So we're looking forward to that. Scroll through the chat because Angela posted the link to Cory's LinkedIn profile. You can also find him on Facebook. I'm telling you, you want to follow him. Every single day is another, I'm not trying to put pressure on you to post every day, but you seem to. You just have something really inspirational and powerful on your wall, your digital wall, most days. And I love it. I'm following, and I really recommend that everybody does that. So the LinkedIn thing is there. And of course, in our Builder Town Hall Facebook group, he's a member of that. So you can search there. You can find his Facebook that way. Okay, so last question, and it might be the child in the pool. I don't know, but the funniest thing that's happened to you over the years, either when you were selling or training. I've definitely had some oopsies while I was training, right, Carrie? So over the years, something funny that's happened in your journeys.
Oh man, that's a tough one because there is a lot. There's the kid in the pool. I've had a gator at my entrance stopping me from going to work. I've had a bear at my car. I've had an elderly gentleman trying on one of the dresses in the mall. I mean, I've heard it all. Yeah, that's I'll leave that one alone. That's for the group chat. But I think the one I don't mind picking fun of myself. So I swore I would never tell this story. So this is a town hall exclusive. I was traveling to a sales center to help train a salesperson, and it was a rainy day because it's Florida. And I was in a tan suit. I thought I was being fancy, and I was trying to multitask, and I was on a call. I was getting ready to go inside the model. I had a big bottle of water, and of course I fumble and I spill the bottle of water, not on my jacket, not on my legs, right on my crotch. So gigantic wet spot on a tan
Flash.
suit. I mean, it is worst case scenario. So of course I go through many levels of panic, but then I think, oh wait, it's raining. I can just go stand outside and get wet and just suck it up and I'll just get wet. So I go outside and I go to get wet. And of course, Florida decides, no, we're going to stop raining. So it turns into a light drizzle. So now I'm sitting here with just little spots on my shoulders and a giant wet patch, you know where. So I went through a couple different thought processes of how to get out of this situation. And then finally, I just had to own up to it. And I told the salesperson, hey, listen, I know what this looks like. I tried to lean up against my car. I tried to do everything to get more wet. But finally, I just had to tell her, hey, here's what it is, man. I spilled my water. I know it looks bad, but let's just get past it. So the funniest one's probably me being me.
Honesty is the best policy.
It sure is.
Exactly.
This story reminds me of the time that Carrie and I, we were at the National Speakers Association annual conference. And I was so excited because I'd gotten a dress from like Ross or Marshall's for like $15. I'm like, Carrie, it's a $15 dress. This is a $15 dress. And I'm like, this is the best dress ever. It was only $15. And I wore it maybe 2 hours. And I think it was down the back, like where the zipper was. It just started coming apart. And she is just trying to like not laugh at me and go, $15, huh? It was literally disintegrating as I wore it. Okay. So I got what I paid for on that one. So I know wardrobe malfunctions are some of the best stories out there.
I call those blowouts, and I've had quite a few blowouts on stage where my whole backside, and then I start to think, what color underwear am I wearing? Is this going to be really awkward? So quite a few blowouts on stage.
Yes.
And you know, all that happens to our people in the models. You know, that they're working, that all of a sudden, like their lunch is on their lap, they don't have any more clothes. And, you know, so it's just recovery. Like all of this story is, after this, how do you recover? Because the recovery is the best part.
Is the best part. And it seems to me that when you do learn to laugh at yourself or own up to it and you tell somebody, it's a bonding experience. It's a great icebreaker at your own expense. But people value that human side, right? I think they really do.
On a slightly serious note, we always talk about, you know, there are things that are going to happen in your life every day. Some are going to be good, some are going to be bad. You can't control that, but you can control what you do next. And that's where the importance is.
Yeah. Allison, who's the VP of sales at MI here in Raleigh, she wrote in the chat, my side zipper broke one time, saved by a binder clip. So I have stapled myself into things to get on stage before. We've done all kinds of crazy things, which we will not go into right before the sales rally.
Meredith, are you the one that got caught on the escalator with the skirt?
Oh yeah. Yes. Oh yes. That's one of my signature keynote stories, is a maxi skirt that got sucked into the escalator going down, and the skirt went down with the escalator.
Oh my gosh.
It was, I'll have to get that story out. That's a great story.
That was a great story.
But it's what you do next. Ta-da!
It is.
At the bottom of the escalator, holding on to my drawers going, ta-da!
I hope they were cute ones that day.
Oh my gosh. Well, Cory, it is just an honor and a pleasure. I can't believe what you had to go through to land at home. He landed and got to his house 30 minutes before we went live after spending a night in the wrong city. So you did a lot to be here today, and I know that we are better for it. I know our town hallies are better for it, and we just really appreciate you giving back.
Well, I thank you so much. When I first got the you reaching out to me, I thought at first April 1st, maybe it's April Fool's joke. And then this morning when I got stranded in Chicago, I was like, oh, there's the final April Fool's joke. But things happen. You just got to decide what to do next.
So my
decide what to
takeaway,
do next.
Cory, as I leave you today and I read all your great things like Meredith says and on LinkedIn. So I've got a new vision. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Cory just got up and he's sitting and he's writing this.
Right.
That's pretty accurate.
Look like?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah, well, we know, and I know, Angela, you've demonstrated this throughout your career. We get back so much more than we give, but it's that initiative of giving to the industry, giving to people, that developing, being willing to develop others, that is how you end up receiving more than you started with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
All right. Well, this has been no April Fool's joke, and may you have no April Fool's pranks pulled upon you for the rest of the day. However, if you do, it will be how you reframe it and what you do next that will matter most. Go invest in somebody today. You've invested in yourself, and that's amazing. Share this once I get the recorded loaded to our Facebook group. Share it amongst your teams and your colleagues, because that's a way that you can invest in them. All right. Thank you, everybody. We will see you in May.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Cory.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye.